This is part 2 of our conversation with Fenn Priest, the Trauma Witch. Definitely be sure to go back and listen to part 1 if you have not already. Welcome to the Witchy Therapist Podcast. I'm Stacey Aldridge. I'm a therapist and Reiki Master who is learning how to bring my witchy and therapist parts together.
And I'm Charity O'Reilly, a trauma therapist who has learned to embrace all the holistic ways we heal from trauma and thrive in this dumpster fire of a world. We are here to explore together what it means to be a witchy therapist, how to blend witchy practices with evidence-based therapies,
and dive deep into the magical world of how we use our witchy powers as we heal.
So you go back and you look for those things that bring up that feeling, and then you do what you can to bring that into your world.
And that's so perfect.
That's going to look different for different people, but
exactly.
This goes back to my training as a yoga therapist, which is like, this is like bring that shit in and figure out where it can. And it's not that necessarily Anne of Green Gables is the thing that's going to pull me out, but it's a clue. Right. It's a clue, and it's something that will make you that puts you on the right path. And for me, once you're like, oh, that's the feeling. Okay, so the Anne of Green Gables / Madonna feeling. That's the feeling. That's the feeling of me being in my shit, being embodied. Okay, now I use that as my directional tool. Yes. You know, like for me, that's what the chariot is. It's that directional tool that you know, to me, the chariot is like, I'm looking up, obviously geese are a big animal for me because I'm Canadian, Canada geese.
And Mary Oliver.
And Mary Oliver, right? But geese, and I've been around a lot of geese and I fucking love them. I know that they're, you know, sometimes a terrible animal, but I really do love them. But they mate for life for one thing, but they're migratory, you know? And so for me, this is always like, okay, if you're a goose, or if you're a salmon trying to swim upstream, or if you're a monarch butterfly, how do you know it's time to go?
Yeah.
And I know exactly where I'm going. And I know exactly how I'm going to get there, right? Yeah. Like, so to me, that feeling, that sensory joy, that autistic euphoria feeling that you have when you're stimming, engaging in your special interests, all of that, you use that as your directional tool. And then the only thing you need to do, which is like no big deal, is you just need to alchemize your shame. Not a big deal. not a big thing.
Easy peasy.
It's like 95% of therapy with neurodivergent people, honestly.
Oh, 1000%.
With all people, perhaps.
Sure.
I mean, with all people, like and this is the part where I get on my soapbox, but you know, that's how the systems want it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, absolutely. Like the systems of oppression that we're existing under, so long as each of us are like, what's wrong with me? That keeps us from connection. It keeps us from connection with each other. It keeps us from connection from the land. And it keeps us from focusing on the fact that they're the ones fucking our shit up.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So basically it's like, okay, so the first part of soft animal magic is like, okay, like setting up the theory. And then it's like, okay, sensory joy. Wow. And then it's like, everything else is like, grief.
Yes.
Grief and shame.
Yes. That's so true though. That's so true. Everything else is grief.
Yes.
It just is. And and I think that, like, you know, one of the questions or, you know, kind of topics is like, okay, like why witches now? Why are we witches now? You know, and one of the things for me is the grief is so important, right? Like if you ask me like, okay, so like, you know, like what's wrong in our society? Like what's the root cause? That's my trait. As a yoga therapist, you're always like, what's the root cause? What's the deepest thing? You know, like that's what we want to find. And for me, it's like grief. We don't have any way of processing and integrating grief. And so when you look, so literally that's what we're looking at when you look at like data centers and Palestine and, you know, like, you know, Epstein Island and like all of those things. In every single one of those cases, at the root of it is a little boy who wasn't allowed to feel and who wasn't allowed to be sad, who never had their needs met. And yeah, never told that that was an okay thing to do, and then just like
Yeah.
multiply that by like 6,000 years and like
Wow.
multiply, like add in like capitalism and,
Mm.
colonialism and all of that. And like, here we are. But
Wow.
so,
Yeah.
so for me, like why witches now is we're here to be doulas, death doulas
Mm.
of the empire,
Yes.
and also like keepers of joy and whimsy, right? It goes back to what are we? We're in relationship with everything.
Mm.
And what do we do with relationships is we learn repair, right?
Mm.
Like that,
Yeah.
that's what we do. So yeah.
Wow. I hope that's going to be in your book because that
Oh
was
yeah.
some
Yes.
deep, profound stuff
Oh yeah.
that you
Oh
just
yeah.
gave us right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Stacey, I'm also so curious what it brings up for you, what Fenn was sharing about the unmasking process. And, I think of, I feel like you're so in touch with your with your special interests.
Oh
But I
yeah.
wonder if with that childhood part, if
Crystal, let
that
me see.
Oh, is Crystal? Is
This
Crystal your
is my
special interest?
stimming.
That's your,
Yeah.
is that a
Now.
labradorite?
No, this is black moonstone.
Ooh, it's
ooh, so
beautiful.
pretty.
Do you want to see a crystal? It's
Oh,
like an
Of
absolutely,
opal.
always.
course.
Look at this baby. Do you
That's a
see
Oh,
her shining?
labradorite.
yes. Oh, the blue flesh.
Wow,
Yes.
that is gorgeous.
It's like a
Oh,
dragon's eye. I love her so
Oh,
much.
that's
oh,
so
it is
cool.
like a dragon's eye.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted. You were asking Stacey about
No,
her special interests.
no. It's weird. I think that honestly, in my life, I'm super unmasked. It's that I have a therapist mask, and I want to unmask a little bit more in
Mm,
specifically professionally because,
mm,
yeah, my husband and I both, we have our own like home office where we take our own quiet space, and I've since I got the ADHD diagnosis, I really let myself stem the way that I needed to so that I don't tear up my cuticles anymore. And I'm not as obsessed with music as I was as a kid because as a kid, I mean, I didn't know everything. Like I was really into Sarah McLachlan, Indigo Girls. This was, pre-Lilith
Oh,
Fair,
it was pre-Lilith
95,
Fair. Okay,
96. Yeah.
it's like okay,
Oh, because
amazing. Yes.
I went to Lilith Fair, San Francisco 97, Chicago 98. Yeah. But I had to know
Did you watch the
everything.
documentary, the Lilith Fair documentary?
I
It's
mean,
so good.
I was like, here's Sarah McLachlan's favorite color. I had to know everything. I still have the special interests, and I think I really do let myself dive into those things, especially, being with a partner who is also neurodivergent. And so I think, yeah, it's just figuring out how do I like professionally unmask a little bit we're like, we still obviously as a therapist, you can't come to a day of sessions and be like, my PMDD and perimenopause
Mhm.
is fucking me up. But to be like a little bit more open about that and not just be like,
Mhm.
I am always put together and perfect.
Mm.
mm. I wonder if this podcast will be part of that process for you, because I remember
Maybe
in our
so.
intro episode you shared about, kind of doing this podcast because it's something that you're kind of aspiring to, like inviting more witchiness into your
Yeah.
life.
Can
Yeah.
I offer something? Oh, sorry, I don't want to
Oh,
cut in.
I was gonna say, I think it's just when I did IFS training, I learned that I have a part that's very high level and been there a long time that monitors me and asks, do I appear normal to people? Do I appear normal to people? Am I
The
acting
apparently normal
normal?
part.
Yeah, and that part is just still not cool with taking a step back. And I think that's a big part of
Mm.
it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Hmm. May I offer a few things that
Absolutely,
are
yes.
a little bit coachy?
Sure.
The first thing that I'm going to say is you are asking that question. You are well further down into the process than you think that you are.
Oh, that's
Because
good.
the felt sense of it is usually like the last thing that kind of comes up. And so for me, I
Hmm.
was like, if you're asking that question and you're coming forward and doing that podcast, it's happening,
Yeah.
right? And the thing that's weird is that the answer to that question, how do I unmask in session? There's no way for you to answer right now.
Yeah.
No way. Your system is going to need to find its way there. And so another kind of like piece of the theory for soft animal magic, y'all know about like top down and bottom up
Hmm.
processing,
Hmm.
right? Right. Okay. So for me, so that is so key
Yeah.
to us as autistics. And I changed the way I talk about it a little bit, and I talk about it as cognitive imagination versus somatic imagination.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And so so when we're autistic, so cue back to the story of me talking about learning to mask while listening to Amy Porterfield podcast about writing sales copy, right?
Mhm.
Because we've never been able to be in our bodies and we've not been able to follow that autistic euphoria, that sensory joy, right? Like let it guide us. All of that is shut down. So
Mm.
we don't have access to the ways that our body naturally wants to engage with the world. Also,
Mm.
senses we're overwhelmed all the time. So it's like, sorry, no, I don't want more of this shit. And
Yeah.
most of us, not all autistic people, but like, like the witchy therapist autistic people, we're up here. We've been making, we're hyperverbal, hyperlexic, we read. And so we're like, oh, this is the way,
Yeah.
right? So you're like, if I'm, so, so it becomes this cognitive imagination for me is like, what does that look like? What have I seen that look like around me? Okay, how do I get there? Right?
Mm.
Like it's kind of like there's a goal, there's an end goal in mind, appearing normal.
Mhm.
And then you start where you are and you're like, how do I make my way there? And what I've noticed is my nervous system wants nothing to do with that. Like my PDA is like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Like I'm not even going there.
Mhm.
Somatic imagination is the bottom up process, which is I'm going to start here and I'm going to start in, like with my little witchy things and with my music and with my candle and with my beverages and with my everything. I'm going to connect to this feeling and then I'm going to follow.
Mm.
Mm.
So the answer, so what I'm saying is like right now when we ask that question, like I don't know what that looks like, I don't know what to do. A lot of times we're asking it from I want to understand this and
Yeah.
I want to have a plan, right? Like this is such a big nervous system part for us autistics. What I notice is like my system, I think trauma exacerbates the autistic need for order and predictability.
Mm. Mhm.
Sure.
And so for me, and somatic imagination, creativity, everything that's good and fun and that we want, it's all dealing with the unknown. It's all being messy. It's all the
Mm.
opposite of being normal. It's all the opposite
Mhm.
of perfectionism, all
Mhm.
of that. But yeah, so like basically we haven't had permission to do that. We've been relying on our brain. And so we want the answer to come here.
Mm.
Oh, that's what I
Ooh.
was going to say. So, like, for me, my nervous system is extremely reluctant to allocating resources if there's no plan.
Mm.
If
That
there's
Mhm.
makes
no plan,
sense.
if I don't know exactly what I need to do, how long it's going to take, if I don't have like a framework, a concept around it, if I don't understand it, my system won't allow allocate resources for that. So
Mm.
that's why we need this, the nervous system magic. That's what it is. It's like okay, how are we going to make that okay for the nervous system to go like, okay, I'm really used to this method of knowing, which is, like
Yeah.
intellectual, cognitive, etc. Um, I need to learn a different way of being. Wow, this is terrifying. Also, have a hunch that the shit that I really want is on the other side of that. How are we going to make that okay
Yeah.
for the nervous system to follow? And what I would say is in creating this podcast, you are creating the conditions
Mm.
for
Mm.
your unmasking to
Yeah.
happen. And you
I think
and
that's true.
right at the top of session, I pointed out your little gold skeleton because I
Yeah.
love bones. I have bones I don't have any bones immediately reachable. I have deer bones all over my place.
Mm.
I zoomed in on that, and what you said is, oh yeah, I put that there just as a sort of wink and as a way to like attract people and to kind of like put out there the witchy vibe. So for me, I'm like, babe, you're doing it. Like it's
Yeah.
happening. Like look at you.
Yeah.
You've got all these tattoos. You've got this crystal in your hand. You've got a crystal behind you.
Yeah.
You've got
This is
yeah.
for those who are not watching, you're gonna just have to look at my
Oh my
Instagram, but this
God.
is actually a shamanic ceremonial tattoo that Erica Flams in New Orleans does. She does a shamanic journey with you in
Ooh.
the tattoo area, and then she
Wow.
draws what she sees. and
What?
then gives you 6 things to pick from. I actually combined 2 of them, and then makes you, essentially, it's like a sigil. So
That's so
it's
It's
like upside
cool.
down, but I've got a deer, a
and like look at your
hippo.
bracelets too.
Yeah.
So I'm like you're doing it. Like it's happening and you can trust that. And the other thing too is that like somatic imagination, everything takes 10 times longer than you
Yeah.
would want it to. It's
Mm.
so long, but so much of what I do with clients now is point out just what I said is like, you're already doing it.
Yeah.
And I know that it feels like shit and it doesn't feel better yet. And we
Yeah.
really want it to, and it sucks. But also, you have come so far. The thing is, with nervous system change, it has to happen at
Mhm.
such a snail's pace
Yeah,
for the integration to actually happen. It
definitely.
has to be so slow that a lot of times we end up being kind of like the reverse of the frog being cooked, to where we don't
Oh,
notice how far we've come because
Yeah, that's so true.
every moment of change is so small and so incremental that you might
yeah.
not notice. But if I were to take a snapshot of you as a
Mm,
therapist, like a year ago and 6 months ago,
yes.
and you as a therapist now, and I was going to line them up and I was going to say, like, can you tell the difference? You would be like, oh, boom, you would clock that
Wow.
progression.
It's so
And that's
true.
another piece too for me, like coming from the yoga world and having coming from the yoga world, which is very much like, and then like just the whole wellness, that online wellness industry, right?
Hmm.
It's all about big experiences, right? It's
Mm,
all about, and like shamanic journey, like I'm setting that aside, like that is a big experience and that is an embodied experience.
yeah, it's
And also
embodied.
that tattoo artist did not promise that she would fix your stress and your relationships and any all of
Oh,
that
goodness.
shit. But so much of wellness culture is okay, let's have a big experience, let's have a big retreat, let's have like a
Mhm.
big thing. You go there, you experience that, you're like, wow, I can see things differently now. My whole life is going to be different. And then you go back home,
Yeah.
and so for me, it's like it's looking at, okay, that actually does not work for your nervous system. It's easy to sell.
Yeah,
And
Hmm.
it's
yeah.
easy to keep selling it to you because if you've gone to the retreat and you had the big experience and you're like, wow, everything's going to be different now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to drink lemon water. I'm going to, like
Yeah.
all the things.
Mm,
You get home, that doesn't happen because that was a
Yes.
completely unrealistic plan that you set
mm,
for yourself. But
Yeah.
you're not going to go home and go like, oh shit, like that retreat did not fulfill its promises. You're like, I
mm,
had the feeling in the retreat.
mm.
Mhm.
I don't have it now. Oh, it must be my fault.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that's that shame part.
Here it
And
is.
I don't know if
Yeah.
this will resonate with you, Fenn, at all, because I don't know your background, but I know Charity will understand this. It's when you come back from a mission trip with your youth
Yes.
group, and you're
Mhm.
like, oh, God has
Just gonna
opened me
spit out the
up.
tea.
And,
Yes.
you rededicate, you go, rededicate your life to
Yes.
God, and
Yes.
then nothing changes.
I
Yes.
do not come from the world of mission trips, but I've been close enough to it for a lot of
Yeah,
time so
and you're
that
in
I understand. And
Texas.
yeah, that's exactly correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
the same. That's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah. And
Mm,
that's how the grift keeps going,
Yeah.
right?
mm,
Because
yeah.
you keep having the experiences, you keep going on the mission trips, you keep going on the retreats, you
Mhm.
keep trying to do all the things, and you do access that feeling. You do. Like to me, that's why they all do singing in church.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah. Definitely.
Because
absolutely.
that's the feeling. That's
Yeah.
the feeling that's like, oh, I'm connected to my people around me.
Yeah.
We're
Mhm.
all vibing literally at the same
Exactly.
frequency.
Soothing our
And
nervous systems.
and it's just like, oh, it feels like this big feeling. And you're like, oh, this must be true.
Yeah.
But they've put a gate, but their gatekeeping is like, ah, yeah, but that feeling is Jesus,
Mhm.
Right.
and like, like
Right.
they have to gatekeep it.
Would we have time, if you're up for it, Finn, to talk just a little bit? Because I think people are probably really curious about, well, of course, we're going to leave time to talk about your offerings as well, but to talk about the process of being diagnosed, because I think that's
Mhm.
so important for people, whether it's, I don't know
Yes,
if you self-diagnosed or peer-reviewed, like
absolutely.
Stacey did.
So what
Okay.
was fun about that is that the unmasking for me has been completely magical. It actually started in ceremony. Oh my God, Juniper, you're being so cute right now. Um,
Oh,
it was with Rachel Maddox.
Yeah.
who is a business retreat coach
Mhm.
who I adore. And this was late 2023, like in December. My birthday is December 16th, so I'm always kind of doing like world shifting. It's kind of like my New
Mhm.
Year's for me, you know, so that
Yeah.
period of time. So anyways, I was doing sessions one-on-one with Rachel. And what happened in session one day, and she's brilliant. She was like, wow, she noted that it was so weird how I seemed to know myself so well and seemed to feel so little known by the people around me. And then I
Mm.
was like, oh, like stopped me in my tracks, right? I was like, God damn, yeah, that's true. So in that session, I put together this, you know, I love working with language and words and spells and all of that. I
Yeah.
had this phrase that was turned on invisible, turned on
Mm.
invisible. And that was
Ooh.
kind of like I was like, oh, that's the next thing. That's the thing that
Mm.
I'm working towards. And I didn't know it at the time, but being turned on invisible is being unmasked as an
Yes.
autistic. It's allowing
Yes.
yourself to be seen, stimming, allowing yourself to be seen like in your, like just in your glorious weirdness, right?
Mhm.
So that's what kicked it off for me. So that would have been like, maybe like a week before my birthday. And a few weeks later, browsing the internet as we do, came across a post by Devaney Amber Wolf, who is a Canadian artist, does the most gorgeous tarot decks.
Ooh.
But a lot of her, she's stunning, but a lot of her writing, but she was also like late diagnosed. And so she had a
Oh.
post that was like traits of autism in women.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that did it, first of all, it was just like, oh my God, checking pretty much all of these boxes. But the one that really did it for me was um, likes to organize things in rainbow order, likes to, and I was
Oh.
like, oh,
Ooh.
oh, oh, that's me. And literally remembering like when my kids were little and they had all these toy cars, they would line up their cars and then I would change them and put them in rainbow order. And I get
Oh,
that's just like that's
wow.
such a deep. So that was the thing that kind of lit me up. I was like, oh fuck. So that's mid-December at this point. I'm like, oh, I think I'm autistic. And also, can we
Mm.
talk about how weird that is that all of us were on the internet as like therapists or therapeutic providers, whatever, and like none of us knew shit about autism, but that's what it was for me. So I was like, okay, and kind of having to look into this. And then in January there was a podcast a podcast with Glennon Doyle on her whatever it's called podcast, and she was talking about her anorexia diagnosis at the
I
time,
remember that.
and everything that she was saying about like, well, that can't be me because of this and this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh, that's actually the proof that it is me. So I was
Wow.
listening to that.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember. I remember this because I was home at the time. I was in Quebec at the time. So I remember like being in the car with like, like snow outside listening to this podcast and like just this like, oh my God, I think this shit is real. I think it's real. And then the next stage was like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy Unmasking Autism by
Yes.
Devin
Mm-hmm.
Price.
Great
And
book.
I'm gonna read it, put it on my Kindle. And that's where like literally leaving from
In the
that trip,
airport.
I'm reading the book. And like within like the introduction, I have a picture of it where it's
Yes.
like,
Oh my
well,
gosh.
fuck.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
happening. On my Substack, which is Soft Animal Magic, I have posts that I wrote that go in extreme detail
Oh,
about all of
awesome.
this.
Mm.
So
Awesome.
if you're just kind of like, oh, I kind of want to read, and also like, how do I find those posts, those resources?
Yeah,
Those are all
awesome.
all listed
Oh,
there.
that's so perfect.
But the when it happened, I was ready. When I found out about that, I was like, oh, let's fucking go. I was like, I'm ready because I had done all of the previous work. I was
Mm-hmm.
already in the shame and grief
Yeah.
piece of the trauma, right? And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, this is the missing piece. And I
Mm,
was just ready. I was just like, bring it,
yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it wasn't excruciating, that there wasn't
Yeah.
like a terrible burnout, that it
Mhm.
hasn't like, no, it's been, but my
Mm,
first for me, it came through magic, right? Like it came through working with a witch who was like, turned on invisible. And I was like, yeah, that's probably the thing. And they're like, have you considered you're autistic? And I was like, oh, this is a twist I didn't see coming.
Mm.
But I was ready, like I was
Yes.
ready to go there, and I
Yeah.
did. And
Mm.
here we are. That's when soft animal magic started to come in. Is I had
Ah.
already started to put together, I now I can tell that I had already started to put together the pieces, like the earlier pieces I'd started to put together, but that's when it started to come in. And it was wild because I couldn't write, I couldn't do anything in business. I couldn't fucking send an email. But I was channeling like a motherfucker, like filling so many journal pages and having this huge body because it's a universe, like it's really big, um it's to me it feels like a fairy tale world, like it feels like a story world, like it's all world building. So it
Yeah.
was really weird to be like, oh, all this shit's dropping in my lap, wow, it's really cool, and also like literally cannot write an email.
Yes.
So I had to exist in that in
Mm.
between state for a
Mm.
long time.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
I'm
still,
so,
I'm not in that in between state today, but I was last week. So
yes,
it's very important that you hear that if you're listening to me
exactly.
talk and you're like, wow, this autistic witch seems to have her shit together. Like you should have talked to me last week. Like it was a
Yeah.
completely different story. Like I was miserable and desperate. Yeah, which still completely happens.
And I think
Yeah.
that's such an important reminder for everyone listening, whether it's about neurodivergence, whether it's about trauma, whether it's about PMDD or perimenopause or whatever.
Mhm.
I have no doubt that every listener has something that they are experiencing that they need
Yes.
that reminder of. The journey is going to be convoluted and we are not going to be in our witchy magical selves all the time. And I think that's why we love to talk about resources, because the resource
Mhm.
is the thing that we hang on to for dear life, by our fingernails falling off when we are in those places that
Yeah.
it's so dark and we have no idea what's coming next.
A huge part of soft animal magic, and I do notice you're segueing to resources, and I'm like, yeah, that will make it like a nice tie back. So like we're going there. But to speak to this point, um, the cycles of contraction expansion is such a big part of my
Yes.
work, right? Of
Mhm.
like, because I'm trained as a yoga therapist, so I'm trained to work with the breath, trained to work with like cycles in the body, all of that, which is we pay attention to cycles in nature, like like
Yes.
we know, we can see and all of that, but the nervous system magic, nervous system growth, like neuro trauma repair, all of that stuff, it proceeds by these cycles of expansion and contraction. Your
Mm.
system kind of got, oh, new possibility. This feels good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna stretch out into that a little bit. So that's your wild soul going like, oh, do I get to play a little bit? Like, oh, this is fun. And then your nervous system going to go like, oh wait, shit, no, 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 we're supposed to look normal. So the
Yeah.
contraction's going to be on the
Yeah.
back end of it. But all of this is a process of digestion.
Yes.
Mm.
And that's how digestion functions. It's by
Yes.
like everything in your body functions by expansion and contraction,
Yes.
right? That's
Yes.
how birth happens. That's how your heart
Mhm.
muscles work. That's how you poop. That's like literally like how
Yes.
all of it happens. So for me, that's been such a huge part of learning to be in this moment, is learning that like I think about this cycle as like a water wheel, right? And so it's like sometimes I'm on top of the wheel and sometimes I'm under the wheel. And when I'm
Oof.
under the wheel, I'm in the contraction and the
Yeah.
water is not always at the same height. So sometimes the water's really, really high. And when you go underwater, you're there for a long time. And then you just
Oof.
barely get to catch your breath at the top and you go back
Oof.
under. But to me, it's like we can pretty much count on we're going to get back up, and there's at least going to be a moment to, yeah, catch a breath, look around, grab for a resource, and say, but like if we're expecting the coming down,
Yeah.
I that's a lot of what I do with clients, is just like reminding them, oh, you're in a
Yes.
contraction. And a lot of
Yes.
times when I'm talking to people and when they're in an expansion and where they're like, wow, possibility, this sounds great, I'm like, I'm so excited. Also, after this, either later today or later
Yep.
this week, your system
Yeah.
is going to clock that, like, wait,
Yes,
wait, we're not supposed to do that.
exactly.
And then it's going to squeeze you back up. And what's important to
Yeah.
know, most of us will interpret that as, oh, I had it. and then I lost it, right?
Mm,
And it's like, no, 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 no.
mm.
You have this is you having it. But
This is
this is
it.
how, when we're talking about that slow incremental change, that's
Exactly.
what's happening. You need the
Exactly.
contraction to integrate the experience.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Oh, that was so good. Again, cannot wait for
Amazing.
that book because that's going to be amazing.
And it's gonna be a minute, like
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
yeah. But
It,
but
be,
but oh, this is the most brilliant segue ever, because you're talking about my book and we're going to talk about resources. And this is where I get to tell you that
Yay,
me and my team, oh, my team is
your
amazing.
team.
That's
Yes.
a huge part of, I could not have been doing any of this without my
Mm.
team, Karen and Danielle. Again, came
Uh,
together very, very magically. I tried to be in partnership with folks before for a long time and it didn't work. But those are two people who were, Karen was
I
in
know
Striving to
Karen.
Safety with you,
Yeah, yeah. Hi,
and
Karen.
then she was, and then Danielle was in the Resource Healer. So like
Oh,
we knew
okay.
each other from being in groups
Uh,
together. But the first thing that we did when we started working together is we put together a zine called A
Oh,
Field Guide to Soft Animal Magic. And it
yay.
is it is the most brilliant shit. It's so beautiful. The cover looks like this.
Oh my
Like
oh,
goodness.
it looks like we made it look like an old grimoire,
Oh
like
my gosh.
herbal manual.
Grimoire.
So that's free. That's our freebie.
oh my goodness.
So,
Oh,
So if you go to thetraumawitch.com/zine,
awesome.
you will get to download it for free. I think it's like 44 pages or something like that. So everything, so many of the things that I talked about, like creating the conditions, soft animal triad,
Ah,
um, all of that, that's all in there.
Incredible.
Not at the most expressive. What
sure.
I will say about it's mostly the theory. There's very little application in it. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
mostly the theory. But if you're like, ooh, I can't wait for that book, I'm like, yes, this is gonna help a lot
Yes.
with that wait, which is
Ah,
go ahead and yeah, grab the zine. And then
oh,
you get
that's
on
so
my list
exciting.
and then you get to find out about all the cool things that we're doing.
And just to
Which
let
I would,
everybody know, this will all be linked in the show notes or
yeah.
in the YouTube, so you can just click on these links really easily.
Perfect. And I do want you to share, if you could, verbally about some of your offerings. So just so people can get
Yes.
excited about them and drop into
Yeah.
what speaks to them.
So right now what we've got, so again, I don't know when is this gonna air? Do you know?
Mid-June, I
June.
think
Okay,
by
so
the
we're gonna be into open to receive at that point. So when folks hear this, the two different options would be to work with me one on one, and you can either do that through like a coaching container, or you can do that through getting an individual reading. So like I do the kind of one-off thing that I do is called a somatic spell work session, and basically, it's like
Oh.
if you come to me, say, Stacey, if we're working with you and you're like, okay, I want to unmask at work, I'd be like,
Mhm.
great. We're gonna create basically like a plan. We're gonna go look, we're gonna find that root cause. We're gonna identify all of the stories that are kind of holding that in your system. And
Mm.
then we're gonna find, okay, where is there an opening? And then I'm gonna make a plan for that. But the plan is gonna be like so small that you're gonna feel like there's no way that that can work, and it's gonna work.
Oh, wow.
So we do that, and then the other offering is our group offering, which is the Soft Animal Coven.
Yes.
Um,
Tell us about the
so
coven.
the
Yes.
coven, and the thing that's weird is that I created the coven for me, because at the point when we've been running it for about a year, so since like last spring,
Mhm.
um, I was ready to get back into work, but I knew that I needed to be in relationship with people, and I knew that I needed that to be ongoing. I was a yoga
Yeah.
teacher for years, so my system is very familiar with like a yoga schedule type, like a yoga studio type schedule. So I was like, I need to be talking about this shit every week. I need to
Mhm.
be talking to people every week, because
Mhm.
that is how, so I needed that connection
Yes.
Mm.
to bring this body of work into relationship. And then honestly, and it's been incredible. It's been so
Mhm.
good, because everybody is, most everybody is queer. everybody's neurodivergent, everybody's super witchy, and most of these people, this is the first space that they've ever been in that they can be all of those things. They
Oh,
can be witchy,
yes.
they can be disabled, they can be autistic.
Mm.
At the start of almost every call, we do a thing. We do
Wow.
like what you did resources at the top. We do autistic joy at the top.
Oh,
So, so like right now, one of my very dear coven members, is obsessed with Interview with a Vampire, right? Like the
yeah.
show,
Ah.
like this third season is about to come out. And so we'll talk about that, right? Like, so this is like literally, so you come in this space, again, it's about practice and integration. The That's the other piece for me, is like the theory is important. We can't do much without it, but also we can't do anything with just the theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about that change, the change your nervous system learns through experience.
Mm.
And
Yes.
so for me, the coven is a container where you can come and you can have those experiences, right? Like in a container where everybody gets you, everybody sees you. There's so much witnessing that goes on. And the thing that's awesome for me, because like everybody's coming in there, my big theory is that all of us autistic witches, our healing gifts are on the other side of the mask.
Mm.
Mm.
100%. So what's really cool also, for because that is part of what I'm here is to, I asked spirits like, what am I here to do? Like, you're here to initiate autistic witches. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's
Yes.
do it. Um, but what's so cool is not just me. I've always said this, the people that I work with need each other as much as, if not more than they need me, because
Mm.
I would be in
Yeah.
conversation with people individually, and I'm like, okay, I'm having the same conversation with
Yes.
8 people over the
Exactly.
course of a week, which
Yep.
is fine. I love doing it, but also just it's just
Yes.
inefficient.
Yeah, and that
And
energy that happens when you bring it
it's
all
completely different.
together.
And that's the magic,
Yeah.
because that's what I say. It's like, I can look at you in a session and I can say, Charity, you make so much sense to me. I have this conversation with literally every single one of my
Right.
clients. You are so not alone.
Right.
And you will be able to take that in a little bit,
Right.
but it's not going to mean the same thing
Yes.
as coming to an Oracle Hour call, which is one of our weekly offerings. You get to come and
Mhm.
have me pull a card or do some micro coaching
Mhm.
or do like anything. You get to come to Oracle Hour and you're like, holy shit, I resonate with every single one of these things that I heard
Yes.
today.
Yes.
And
Wow.
this one, I've already thought about this, but I never found language for it. And this other thing that you're saying, that's my experience, and it's the first time that I've heard language around it.
Yes.
Mm.
So what's cool is watching not just what's happening, like the relationship with me and them. The coolest thing for me is the relationship of them with each other, and how they are like coming into their healing gifts, and
Wow.
doing the support for each other, doing the mirroring for each other. So it's so
Mhm.
great, because like I set up
Mhm.
this thing and then I just kind of watch them,
Yes.
like, because they're
Yeah.
like, hey, they'll come in the coven. We have a really, really beautiful platform on Mighty Networks, because like the tech part of programs and being online is so important to me, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
so picky about things. And this is like the best engine. I've used several, and
Nice.
this is the best engine that I've found. But so so that's where I have like, so in Soft Animal Coven, you have a huge teaching library.
Mm.
So like all of my old webinars,
Oh,
courses on, I have a
wow.
5-piece course that's called What the Fuck is Trauma?
Mm.
um 5-module course. I have courses on, we have workshops on the Magician, the Hermit, the Hanged One, the Chariot.
Oh,
We've got tarot for trauma repair class. We've got a rituals for trauma repair
oh my
class. I'm
gosh.
probably forgetting half of what's in there. So there's all,
Wow.
so basically all, because I was, before my burnout, I generated so much
Yeah.
material, and it's
Sure.
Sure.
all still relevant, but it was all just
Yes.
kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
So we put all that in there. Then we have
Wow.
our weekly offerings, which is, we have Oracle Hour. So that's a that's a kind of micro coaching call. You can come and have a card pulled or whatever. So that's on Tuesdays. We have Quiet Club, which is co-working, basically like witchy
Oh, wow.
co-working.
Yeah.
And so folks come to do co-working stuff, but sometimes folks can come and just like take a nap, right? Like
Nice.
sometimes you just kind of want to be able to like check in with people that you're like, hey,
Yeah.
I want to know that you see me. Also, I don't want to have to explain myself to you. I'm just going to show up in this space. Like, if you haven't discovered the magic of body doubling yet as a
Yes.
neurodivergent human, like get on that because that's the
Yes.
best shit.
Yes.
And then we also have somatic journaling once a week, which is just like we
Oh.
come together, we do our journals, and what I will do is I read poetry and I read like excerpts of like witchy books,
Oh,
and then we have like
Wow.
30 minutes where people do journal stuff, and then we show each other our journals.
oh my gosh.
Every month we have somatic spell work workshop, which is the classic drinking from the Fenn trauma hose because I have so much to say and like
Hmm.
so that's where I get like really nerdy and kind of like get on a topic. So
Yes.
we've done a couple on monotropism. We've done one on monotropism, autistic inertia, autistic joy, sensory joy, autistic
Hmm.
euphoria, like all of that stuff. And then we also have rituals for the wheel of the year. So
And you have a
belting.
yoga offering.
And I have a yoga offering. Oh, because the
Yeah.
yoga offering
Wow.
is
That's a
new.
lot of stuff.
A
And
lot.
it's so funny because like as I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much. And like most of the time when I'm in my work, I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. It's such an
yield one
extensive offering.
so yield is what I've been getting the nod from the spirits for a long time because like I'm recognizing how much of my yoga therapy training and I taught yin yoga for years, which is basically like
Mhm.
floor. I taught like restorative and yin yoga, so I called it floor yoga. But I so much of what I do has to do with gravity and
Oh.
softening into it and working with gravity and like working like literally like your fascia is
Yeah.
holding all of that shit in your system, right? So this allows us to work directly with fascia
Hmm.
and allows us to do the most fundamental thing was like learning to feel safe with a bigger container because so
Yeah.
many of us we didn't feel safe with our
Ah.
parents and so we never got that body on body breathing as mama breathes sense of
Yeah.
Hmm.
oh I am here, I'm a person that's here.
Right.
We can magically we can do that with the earth. So I've
Oh.
been getting the nods from spirit for a while of like, hey, you should bring this back in, but like I was so burnt out on the whole yoga
Yeah.
thing that I was just like, I don't want to be a yoga teacher. Also, like in 2020, all the yoga teachers went online, right? Like when all the studios
Yeah.
closed. And then I was like, and then my PDA and Rebel fan, I was like, I'm fucking not doing that. Not doing it.
Um,
But so basically yield. So yield is a monthly um yin yoga class and we do breath work but it's like digestive breath so it's like it's not holotropic breath work to bring you up it's just like
yeah.
it's elongating exhale like diaphragmatic breathing with the
Hmm.
earth all of that so we do that on the first Sunday of the month and that is free so that is our sort of
Ah.
like come in and experience and
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
and it's been so delightful. We've done like two so far, I think. So that's why like it's just so new.
Yeah.
Um, but it's been so nice to be back because like that's how I
Um,
learned to channel. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't call it that at the time. But when I was teaching yoga, I was fully channeling. Like I'm sitting there and
Hmm.
like my eyes are closed and I'm just talking and everybody's coming back after. It's like, oh my God, like what you said. And I was like, I don't know, man, I was picking up your vibe. That's what I was doing. But it was been so nice to drop back into that and
Yes.
to go like, oh, all of these pieces are
Mm.
still here, but now I have this different framework that I
Yeah.
talk about it from, right? Like
Hmm.
there's a different goal now, there's a different outcome now, and so it's been really cool to kind of be able to drop back. And the first time that we taught it, like me and my team, they were just like, wow, you were really dialed in. And I was like, I know. And so, and this is what we do different about this class is there's no one's on video.
No
So
screens.
Hmm. I love it.
I'm not on video.
No.
They're not on video. I have a
Yep.
few slides up because we have a lot of visual learners who like to
Yeah.
have some visual cues, but and a lot of visual learners, that's including me. But you never have to look at me and literally turn the cameras off for everybody.
Yes.
So it's really just you're gonna have your your zoom up, but you don't have to look at the screen once.
Yeah.
You just get to listen to my voice,
Yeah.
and I will guide you through really gentle movements, breath works, breathing with the earth, like all of that. It's
Yes.
really fun.
Uh, it is honestly incredible how much you offer.
Yes.
So to your parts that are like, I'm not doing anything, you are offering an extensive support network for kind of every imaginable part of people's bodies and nervous systems that could need some
I just
witchy
need
trauma-informed support.
I just need to figure out how to talk about it. So to put my face, like just talk about, because that's the thing. I'm like, I think that the reasons like is because like we're not making any money right now because I'm so focused on the work with them and I hate promoting and
Oh,
launching and all that shit. So we're just like
yeah.
not doing enough of that. And that's the piece that I'm doing right now. Like this is part of it for me too. I'm like, here am
Yes.
I.
Yes.
Um, but so I guess that's
Well,
why I'm like, oh, no, nothing is going on. It's like we're not, but I just, oh, you just need to talk about your shit more because this is what
yes.
happens, right?
Because you've got so much going on and they're incredible offerings. And some
Yes.
of them are free and people could also come work with you one-on-one. They could join the coven. So I really hope people
And
do.
and the coven is intentionally really low cost. So
Okay.
our basic price for the coven is $44, but you can go 33 or you can go 55. And
Wow.
we did that on purpose. And like I don't if you're listening to this podcast like far in the future, like I don't know what's gonna
Sure.
be, but like that's
Yeah.
what we that at the moment that I'm speaking, that's what's there because so much everybody that we work with is burnt out,
Yeah.
perimenopause, PMDD,
Hmm.
queer, trans. So we work with a really, really under-resourced
Yeah.
population.
Yes.
And it was very important to us to make an offering that was accessible
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is that we haven't figured out how to make that actually resource and nourish us. So that's the
Yes.
next piece.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
Well, and you deserve that, Finn. You have just
Yes.
in this time with our listeners, you have given so much wisdom. I know people have been able to just take in so much wisdom. There's so many like one-liners that I'm sure people were like, take
I'm
note.
very that's
Yes.
kind of that's my the one-liners and the like the weird metaphors are 1000% like my
Oh,
medicine and how I
so
express
good.
like for sure.
It's so good.
Can I
Well,
give a shout out for a witchy resource just before we
oh
go?
Oh,
yeah, for
yes.
sure.
I'm just going to show you so this is Lindsay Mack's new tarot deck that just came out this week
Oh,
called
yay.
Soul Tarot. If
I
you
saw
know
that and wondered about it.
Lindsay Mack of Tarot for the Wild Soul, right? Like just kind of like
Uh,
one of the most influential tarot teachers, right? Like of our time, like it's had such
yes.
an impact on everybody. And this tarot is gorgeous. It was illustrated by Chelsea Granger. If you know the Dirt
Ooh.
Gems Oracle.
Yes, I have the dirt
Yes, okay.
gems.
So same
Ah,
illustrator. And I was kind of sometimes I'm a big snob and I'm a big weirdo. So sometimes I'm like, that is not going to be for me. But like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get it. And I'm like, oh my God, this tarot has been hand. So like this is the back of it.
Hmm.
And then
ooh.
this is the one I have on my desk right now. Queen
Ah,
of Wands. It is so
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
For
And
Look at
those that are just
what
that.
is so
listening,
you
will you
can
say a little bit about what it looks like for
Oh,
people
yeah,
who are
yeah.
just listening?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So the back of the card has two blue spirals. It looks witchy as fuck. It looks really, really good on a witch's desk. And it's very colorful. Um, it's very colorful, but it's very soft and sweet. So to me, it's
Mm.
really because it's very gentle. Lindsay's approach to the tarot is really gentle, but it's also like fairly sparkly. Um,
Oh.
and and what I've been what I've been impressed with is you can tell that these are two two deeply rooted witches who are
Mm,
in their fucking magic and who
Mm.
collaborated. There's
mm.
such intention and integrity that comes through this deck. It's
Wow.
been quite stunning. So
Wow.
yes,
And I love
highly
how that
recommend.
was, you said a wand card, and the wand was represented by a broom, which I've never seen, and I love
Yeah,
that.
that is so
Yeah, I mean
cool.
it's usually they are actual wands for most of them. But yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
this one is a broom.
Uh,
Anyways,
oh, I love
since
that. And I love those flowers. Those actually look sort of like fireweed to me,
they
which
are
is,
fireweed. They are
oh my
Oh,
fireweed.
gosh. Well, I have
wow.
to buy this deck immediately.
Yeah, I feel like I have to because I saw it on Instagram. I follow the publisher somehow, I think. And now that I've seen them, I'm like, well, this is a sign. I have
It's
to.
Gorgeous.
it's 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 really good. From like a full on like snob and nerd, I'm like, no, no,
Oh my
no.
gosh.
This is some deep shit. Like
Well,
I've loved
Wow.
having it. I've used it every day since I got it. Like it's just been on
oh
my
my
desk. I love it.
gosh. Well, we'll have to link to that as well, but we will definitely
Yes,
link to all of your offerings, Fen. And people, please do reach
absolutely.
out because, as you can tell, Fen is the real deal trauma witch.
Yeah. All
Oh,
right.
I I am I am feeling the contraction, and I'm like,
Mm.
we're gonna open like what I like that new program. The name that dropped was Open to Receive, and I was like, oh, bitch, that
oh,
is for you.
ooh, yes.
Mm.
So I am working to open to receive the
Oh,
mirroring and the
oh.
feedback. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad because
God.
again, so truly deserved. You really are the real deal. I've known you for a long time now, and you really are the real deal. So thank you for that.
Okay.
Full circle back to talking about integrity at the beginning. So
Yeah.
just thank you for
Thank you.
everything you offer that does come from the deep well of yourself that you with integrity tend and that you protect when you need to and
Mm.
that you nurture in all the ways that it requires. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me and thank you for this offering. This is so cool.
So, as we wrap up, I just want to remind everybody that if you leave us a review on the podcast app of your choice or just rate us 5 stars, it helps us out a lot. And you can also find the contact information for the pod and for Charity and myself in the show notes as well.
It was great to be
Thank
with
you.
everybody,
Oh,
and thank you so much.
let's end on a
Yeah.
little Juniper visual.
Bye,
Yay,
Juniper.
Juniper. Oh, we love seeing you, Juniper. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to the Witchy Therapist podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Witchy Therapist Pod and on YouTube at Witchy Therapist Podcast.
If you'd like to follow me, Charity O'Reilly, you can follow me on Instagram at Tea with a Trauma Therapist. You can also find me at teawithatraumatherapist.com for my online course, or you can find me at my website, charityoreilly.com.
And if you would like to follow me, Stacey, I'm on Instagram at holisticallystacy, or you can visit my website, staceyaldridge.com, to learn more about my various businesses.